Welcome to our webinar, Breaking Down Siloed Departments with a Digital Workplace on Office 365 and SharePoint. I'm Daryl Trimble, CEO of SP Marketplace. We've been working with Office 365 to transform the way people work with out-of-the-box workplace solutions on Office 365 and SharePoint. Today, we have over 1,000 customers using our products worldwide to redefine how work is done. In this webinar series, we'll take a look at the traditional IT model driven by siloed departments versus a digital workplace on Office 365 and how it impacts employee productivity, IT costs, and ability to grow for the company. And really the problem comes down to that today, employees are faced with a barrage of different applications and technologies, having to sign on, having to learn to use many different solutions and applications in their job. And really, the problem is what we call organic IT. It's really driven by the traditional concept of growing an organization through functional departments, which are there to provide services as well as handle different processes in the organization. However, what has happened is they've really driven through different isolated views a mess of IT infrastructure. So let's take a look at kind of how the traditional organization has typically grown. What happens in many organizations is that as the organization grows, different departments or functional areas are formed: HR, IT, sales, customer service, administration, marketing. And each of them has their own policies and procedures and develops in isolation a lot of the processes for their function. Now, that's great for the individual functions, but when you bring in employees and have to have them interact, especially across functional lines, it becomes a really tough situation. So there's a couple of issues with this model. First of all, let's take a look at how IT actually gets put in place from this model. We call it organic IT or naturally occurring IT. So let's say the HR department forms and grows. They add different systems with different functions over time to automate many of their processes and help them track many more and more employees and hire more and make changes and track different documents. IT also forms and adds help desks and then has to track assets and vendors and other things as well, and they add additional systems. Finance and administration also does the same thing. Marketing, sales, and services adds their own systems. And finally, engineering and product design also may have their own systems. And then on top of that, for employees, they need to have their office automation capabilities as well. Unfortunately, none of these work with each other. And the result is a couple of things. Number one, IT costs go up quite a bit. And this is because all of these have to be maintained. Employee productivity suffers because everything's all over the place. And then finally, it becomes a hindrance for the business to actually grow. So let's take a look a little more. Let's take, first of all, a look at employee productivity. To do their jobs, employees need to get at different information, different policies, different procedures, different processes, news, information. They need to collaborate. They need to get at contracts and different documents, as well as access different processes like time off or expense reporting or other things. Now, these are core to the employees actually doing their job every day. Unfortunately, all of these types of things are spread all over the place. And this really frustrates the employee and takes time away from their core focus of their job function. A second impact is on IT costs. For each application that you have out there, there is a whole bunch of work that has to go along with it. And so things like managing users and sign-on and securities and groups for each application is a different thing they have to do. Managing devices, if you want to go mobile, if you have a whole bunch of different applications out there, each one of them has a different way of handling mobile devices. Data can't be shared. User interfaces are different across all the different applications. So that increases the need for training for users, as well as you have to manage updates, backups, new versions, and you have to support each different application. All of this creates a lot of costs, not only for IT, but even for your payables group, your accounting, because they're each dealing with different vendors typically. So even for just the applications on this page that we see, there are 133 different things that has to be managed across these different applications. No wonder IT costs and IT staff needs are higher than ever. A second area here too, beyond employee productivity and IT costs, first of all, chaotic management reporting. So it's very easy to get reports out of each application, but try to get a picture across departments or across these different applications, it's very chaotic. This is why you see huge data warehouse efforts and projects in larger companies. In smaller companies, there's not a lot you can do about it. And that really leaves management saying, hey, how can I see what's going on across the company? And IT saying, sorry, we can't pull that together. And then finally, it becomes a roadblock to new initiatives and growth. So if you just taking a look at a technology initiative, the move to mobile, it's almost impossible to move your workforce to be able to use any device at any time from anywhere because each application has a different way of doing it. If you have reorganizations or moving people around or groups, that's very tough to do because you're now having to manage it across many different applications, many different users, and many different permission groups. New initiatives are hard to add in and bring in because you can't necessarily support them with the existing applications because it's just too complex. And then finally, just growth in hiring. Hiring and onboarding itself becomes a big problem because of all the things that have to be set up. So in summary, let's take a look at the cost of what this organic IT kind of infrastructure that kind of naturally grew costs your company. Employee productivity is negatively impacted. They can't find resources. They can't get information that they need. It's flying past them in emails. They can't access services consistently from different departments. They have redundant data entry, especially if you have disparate applications, such as in sales or in HR, where you might have multiple different employee lists that each functional application may have. So the biggest thing here, though, is employee frustration, even that they cannot focus on their jobs. And anytime they have to deal with anything inside the organization, it's total chaos. As we saw, IT costs, it's an ever spiraling out of control thing. And it's almost like an addiction. People in the departments still buy more and more best of breed applications, which creates more and more applications to support and maintain for IT and adds to the chaotic infrastructure. It makes it hard to integrate and share between applications and get a view of things such as management visibility across things for reporting. And as we saw, it affects ability to grow. So the cost of this organic IT infrastructure, which really I think is almost like a silent epidemic across businesses, is a huge issue that most IT organizations and CIOs don't even realize is going on. So a question is, do you have organic IT infrastructure? Well, let's take a look at some of the symptoms. Do you or your users have to keep notebooks to keep track of your user IDs and passwords? Do you need an automated onboarding system for new hires? Specifically because you have so many setup tasks now needed for new employees, a lot of them driven through IT and setting up for new different systems. Is email the main way that your employees get news, or is processing approvals in manual type processes, or getting questions answered from different organizations such as IT, HR, and so on that may not have help desks and leaves employees chasing around to see if their service request got addressed? Can you find the latest employee drug policy in 1 minute or less? If not, then possibly your documents are all over the place. If password assistance is the main case type in your IT help desk, that may be a symptom as well. And if your IT group has to use a spreadsheet or complex task tracking just to keep up with all the application maintenance and renewals for application administration, and if your IT budget is more than your marketing budget or some other functional organization, that's probably a symptom right there as well. So if you've answered yes to 4 out of 7, then chances are you pretty much are in an organic IT model that has grown over time naturally. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably greater than 70% of the organizations in the world. There wasn't much other choice, and that's the way things were done. But let's take a look at what we're going to learn in the rest of the webinar series and how a digital workplace can impact that. So I really do think a lot of organizations have experienced some of the issues with siloed departments and some of the problems that we've just talked about. But now let's see how you might be able to actually use a digital workplace to bridge across these silos, to actually improve employee productivity, make a much simpler environment for employees to work and get their job done, and a less complex infrastructure for IT to maintain. So the concept of a digital workplace is really unifying work and technology into one easy-to-use, intuitive, with a common user experience platform for people to do their jobs from. And it brings together really technology and all the different aspects of technology that people do their jobs from, whether it be mobile, in the office, or on the road. It brings together people and information and discussions and collaboration and sharing information in many different ways. It can bring together many types of information, whether it be content like documents or business intelligence through dashboards or other information in communications and news with the processes that they use every day. That's the concept of a digital workplace. So really, the definition here is the digital workplace is a central workspace that defines and unifies a common user experience of all information, communication, and processes that employees need to get their work done anywhere, anytime, on any device, regardless of which department they're working with. And if you're running Office 365, you actually have the basis for a digital workplace already running in your organization and possibly being used. And what this does is it provides a platform for a digital workplace that brings together all administration, groups, security, data management, content, process flow, collaboration, and connectivity all in one platform and using a common user experience. It also provides many of the different services that your organization uses, whether it be mail, calendars, storage of documents, tracking tasks and projects, even providing dashboards and bringing together business intelligence. All of this is available in Office 365. And all you really need to do is then to bring it together in the context of how your organization works and actually provide your employees with an operational portal structure anchored by an intranet to take advantage of these different things. This structure will allow you to provide a consistent way for employees to interact with departments through operational portals. Almost like if you think about bank branches. If you go into a Bank of America or a Wells Fargo, you'll find that they're all set up in the same way, in a consistent design and structure. So when you go in, you know that on the right-hand side is the tellers, and that's where you're going to do everyday business with the bank, cashing checks, getting money, deposits. On the left-hand side, you find that there is desks and services where you can do mortgage services and loans. And also, at the end, there usually is some type of stand or something with the different programs and brochures. And you'll find that almost every one of them is set up in the same way. And that's what it's all about with customer service, is a consistent approach to how services are provided. And departments can benefit from that as well. And this structure actually gives a way to deliver that and bridge siloed departments. Let's take a look at it a little deeper. Let's take a look at how you might actually deliver
and move to a digital workplace kind of IT infrastructure using Office 365. Office 365 has a core set of functional pieces that allow it to power many different components of Office 365. So a common set of users, really kind of driven through Active Directory type of capability, with groups and permissions and security and governance, and data through common sets of data like SharePoint lists or SQL, content, managed documents and that type of things through OneDrive with SharePoint in the back end as well as content being delivered in sites, and workflow engines. They're merging both SharePoint and a common set of workflow engines like Flow into a common function there. They've put in some incredible collaboration capabilities with Skype for Business and putting in connectivity with connectors as well as going through transactional type things like Flow to connect to other systems. So what they've really done is develop this platform. And also, as many of you know, they've also released a whole bunch of tools. And now it's really a full set of productivity tools that employees can use to do everything from keeping track of tasks and projects to doing very powerful searches through Delve, as well as seeing people information and doing things like building dashboards across different systems with feeds from both inside of Office 365 and outside systems. And then finally, they've also just announced groups. And groups is really where, think of those as sites or portals for dynamic groups such as project teams or other types of groups to share information and take advantage of some of these tools that we see below. And so this is really kind of the first step in providing a access point to the different components of Office 365. Now what we do as an organization is we take it even further, and it's ourselves as well as there are a couple other vendors out there, but we provide the out-of-the-box intranet structure that is built on native Office 365 and takes advantage of the common user experience as well as integration with the different tools out there. And it's a place that people can work from in their department or get services from different departments as well. And we call these operational portals. And then finally, workplace applications. And some of these may be in the Office 365 App Store. Other ones, for instance, we've built for common service request desks or help desks, things like time off requests and other things like policy acknowledgments and facilities work orders and so on are workplace applications that are built on the digital workplace platform on Office 365. Then the other thing too is they've made it so that, through the Office 365 interface, and you may recognize this as what's called the waffle, but it's really the app launcher that you can go in and you can launch different applications as well as operational portals such as an intranet or HR or other types of things. And they're all designed with common user interfaces so that if you're moving from, say, an intranet to the people page showing directories and people information to Power BI to Planner, it all very much looks the same in a common user experience. So the key thing here is, whether you know it or not, it's actually mostly available today leveraging this powerful platform. And what we provide as part of this is a full operational portal kind of intranet suite. We call it the SP Workplace Suite, which is part of this that delivers that key missing piece from what Microsoft provides. And it brings the operational side of it into the digital workplace.
Let's take a look at this intranet and operational portal structure, because that's what's going to really bridge your siloed departments.
The next one really component is core to putting it into the context of work. And many people work in some type of operational context in their organizations as part of a department or a functional unit as well, so such as divisions and so on. And also, though, we also see different levels of this. And this is what we call an intranet structure. It's a website for internal constituents to the organization, and consists generally of a top home page that's kind of the entrance point to the operation, a services type of portal for common services that all employees access, and then different department portals, which are, again, all of these called operational portals because they're not really so much a dynamic group or peer-to-peer, but they're operational portals. And some of the departments may have both a staff portal where they actually get certain functional things done, such as in HR, and a department will also have a service portal, which is almost like, think of it as a bank branch to provide services to their customers, which in HR's case is their employees, and a self-service place for my HR or my IT. So this really is a core part of delivering navigation and how employees work in the concept of your operational organization. So operational portals actually are made up of several things. Again, as I mentioned, a staff portal. And a staff side of the portal is, for instance, your HR staff. And they may, for instance, have business processes that they use, such as performance reviews, or in IT, it might be asset tracking as well. They may want to share ideas and knowledge. There's workspaces for the individual employees there, so they can see all the things that relate to them, events, document sharing, and typically a home page and some type of dashboard. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about operational portals. Now, an intranet structure obviously has a home page, but a major portion of an intranet structure is the operational portal. And it's really different than a group site or group portal because that tends to be for peer-to-peer groups. But an operational portal is more functional in nature. So it's organized around functional groups such as IT, HR, and so on. They're typically departments, could be branches or operational groups. And in each one of them, you really need two sides to it. There's what we call a staff portal that will have a home page. It will have dashboards. It will have sharing of documents and events, maybe sharing of knowledge in a knowledge base, as well as task tracking and the relevant business process applications that go along with that department. Also core to it, every one of them has a service request system. Now the service request system actually serves more of the service portal. So think of a service portal side of the operational portals here as the department's face to its customers. It's a place that employees, for instance, come to HR to get services from HR. So they can go in and see, for instance, their service requests. They could see new HR announcements. They could get access to different HR resources such as forms and information like that. There's also the concept of a knowledge base so that there can be self-service and events and so on. So it really is the employee-facing side of an operational portal. Now sometimes it may not be just around an operation. It may be, like this Employee Central, is a combination of things like a central help desk, central document kind of area, as well as other things like rooms and reservations, employee directories, and so on there as well. So operational portals are very much part of the intranet structure, but they really represent the functional part of the overall operation. Now, the next area component is digital workplace applications. Now, within those operational portals, we may have different business process applications. They tend to be employee, partner, or constituent-facing applications. In other words, a service applications. Examples might be help desks or time off requests, expenses, travel requests, capital asset requests as well. Applications or processes that are employee-facing that are used by most of the employee workforce. They also may be very much HR-oriented, like policy acknowledgement and performance reviews, onboarding and hiring, that again managers may interact with as well. They may even be in smaller organizations, manual processes now with forms and email approval that you can then take and automate in a workplace application. Again, all built on top of this common platform. And in some cases, especially in large organizations, they may be linking to back office systems that were really designed for functional staff use only, and they may act as a front end to these systems for the employee-facing portals as well. So again, very important though is these to be a digital workplace application. Again, they're built on the same common platform, which means there's the same user ID, the same group administration, and so on. And it also follows a common user experience of the digital workplace and typically is launched from an operational portal. The other thing too is both the operational portals and the workplace applications can integrate with 365 services. So things like tracking projects in Planner for Office 365, for example, is an example of that. So in an Office 365 environment. So again, digital workplace applications may be accessed from operational portals as well. Okay, change it right here. Okay, the next area is digital workplace applications. Now, these are applications actually built to run in the digital workplace. And typically they're employee-facing or whoever the kind of constituent is in the digital workplace. And they often include service request desks or help desks, time off, expenses, travel requests, capital equipment requests, as well as some HR things like policy acknowledgement, performance reviews, maybe even onboarding. And this is where really managers get involved with it. They're all built, again, on this platform so that you don't have the work of having individual applications, and they can interact with the different tools and capabilities of the digital workplace. In smaller organizations, we may see some manual processes that you're doing with either electronic forms or paper forms and email approval that can fit into these very well. They may link to back office systems. So for instance, with a payroll system or an accounting system that are really designed for functional staff use only and not necessarily designed for employee self-service. They may even front end some of these systems as well. And the key thing here is all of these applications to qualify as a digital workplace application are built on that common platform using the common capabilities like workflow. It uses the common user experience and is launched from operational portals. It's a natural flow of the digital workplace. And they may integrate with other services in the workplace as well, such as task tracking or calendars or that type of thing too. So workplace applications are a component, really the process part of it. The operational portals is where a lot of them are accessed from, as well as group sites, which are more your dynamic groups, project teams, that type of thing as well. So if we take a look again at the overall kind of picture of a workplace structure and its components, you can see that it's all built on that common user platform and it's built to integrate with each other. So for instance, you might have an HR operational portal which interacts with an HR team on a group site, and that should be seamless. So in other words, if they want to go in and share documents in the group site, they can do that. If they want to share discussions, they can go in and out of the operational portal seamlessly. The same thing goes with business applications. If they're in the HR portal and they're doing policy acknowledgement applications and managing policies and electronic acknowledgments by employees, that should also be seamless as well. So they interact and work together, and especially also with the tools as part of what they're doing.
With the digital workplace, we'll show you how you can significantly improve productivity by moving from kind of a chaotic mess of technologies that employees have to deal with to an organizational hub concept with a common user experience on a consistent platform that drives collaboration, communication, and provides a basis for providing internal services. And that's going to make your employees happy. It'll also simplify IT administration, going from managing a whole bunch of application platforms down to a common set of platforms or a reduced set of platforms, which significantly reduces IT work and administration. And that will significantly reduce overall IT costs for your organization. It'll allow you to move to a very powerful, centralized business intelligence capability where you don't have to build data warehouses, where you can easily bring together data to provide management visibility for your executives and management. And finally, it'll knock down some of those walls to growth that complexity puts up. So it'll allow you to take advantage of new technologies like mobile, be able to handle reorganizations and new initiatives, and simplify hiring across your entire organization. And the great thing is, you've already got the Office 365 digital workplace platform. All you have to do is add these operational portals that actually provide a consistent way to provide services from siloed departments and a place that they can operate, taking advantage of the collaborative and powerful features of Office 365. The great thing is, you don't have to build this yourself. We provide SP Digital Workplace Suite, which is an out-of-the-box set of portals and modules that can span your siloed departments and provide a consistent structure for them to deliver services and productively run their operation. And it's not only the out-of-the-box solution portals, but we also give you a full set of tools and application services because these are no-code, 100% customizable. So check it out. See how you can actually bridge the siloed departments in your organization with SP Marketplace solutions and Office 365 Digital Workplace. Learn more, see videos, get demos at spmarketplace.com. Thanks for attending. We hope this was helpful.